I'm Tory Bowman, and you're watching Underestimated, a show about breaking barriers for people with disabilities. Underestimated is brought to you by Cortree, a division of Spinal Cord Injury Ontario. On this episode of Underestimated, we're talking about aging with a disability and specifically skin health. Oda speaks with Dr. Pamela Houghton about preventing pressure injury. I chat with Ron Gionnet about his skin health routine more than 40 years post-injury, and we visit Ontario Home Health in Collingwood to give you tips on caring for your skin. Stay with us.
Skin health is very important, especially for people with physical disabilities. Joining us now to talk about skin health and preventing pressure injuries is Dr. Pamela Houghton. Thanks for joining me, Dr. Pamela Houghton.
Good to be with you.
Let's talk about the basics. What are pressure injuries and how can they happen?
So the skin is the largest organ of the body. And so our health is reflected in our skin health. It protects us from the environment. It helps us regulate body temperature and blood pressure. And it's full of sensory organs and nerves that keep us appraised of what's going on in the world we live in. It replenishes itself naturally, and it therefore can respond to damage by automatically repairing. But sometimes this barrier becomes breached, and pressure injuries represent one of the most common ways that the skin breakdown occurs. Pressure injuries are basically due to pressure. So it's an external mechanical force that basically squeezes the skin between two hard surfaces. So I like to think about, if you think about the skin over your elbow, you can feel the bone underneath,
Right.
and that's one hard surface. And then if you lean against a chair or a bed, then the skin becomes squeezed. And if that pressure is too much, or it lasts for too long and isn't relieved, then the skin can begin to become damaged. It can overwhelm the repair processes, and you end up with what we call a pressure ulcer or pressure injury.
I appreciate you explaining that. Now that we know what it is, what are some ways to prevent these pressure injuries?
Yeah, so the best way to treat pressure injuries is to stop them from occurring in the first place. So one of the, there's lots of suggestions I'll make, but one of the most important, I think, is to do regular skin checks. So everybody's skin is different, and they respond to pressures and other forces differently. And so I think it's extremely important to do regular skin checks. In addition, keep moving. Pressure injuries are because we stay in the same place for too long. And so being active and moving from surface to surface, doing weight shifts, etc. Eating well and drinking fluids that keep you hydrated. So the better you eat, the more nutrition reaches your skin, the healthier the skin is. Watch for changes in weight. As we age, as we get older, the skin can, our body weight can change, can get higher, we can gain weight, and that puts more pounds per square inch on each skin surface. But the other can also occur. We can lose weight because perhaps of an illness, or because we're just not eating as well as we should. And that too can increase the risk.
So a little back to the preventative measures. When you're facing all these changes in your weight and your body and your activity, what should you be looking for exactly?
So areas of, let me first talk about where pressure injuries are most often found. So you need to know where to look when you're doing your checks. And as I explained, because pressure injuries occur between when the skin is squeezed between two harsh surfaces, they occur most frequently over bony prominences or areas where your bones come closer to the skin surface. So the most common area are, especially in people who use wheelchairs, is your sit bones or your ischial tuberosities. So there are two bones that underlie the buttocks, which we sit on. So we want to make sure that we check that area. Other areas at the low back area called the sacral area is another prone area. And lastly, hips on both your left and right side are common areas where the skin is affected. So you want to check those areas. That will mean for many that you need to get onto a flat surface so that you can see and feel those areas of your skin. Perhaps you need to use a selfie stick with your cell phone so you can take pictures, or a long-handed mirror. And if you can't do it yourself, then get a caregiver who can regularly check your skin. Not only should you be looking at your skin, you should be feeling the skin, because skin breakdown can occur, but you can also get warm, red, or purplish spots that happen before the skin breaks down, and you want to pick those up as well. So change in temperature or texture of the skin is also something to watch for.
I appreciate you explaining that. That's definitely something a person with a physical disability has to watch out for. For my final question with you, Dr. Houghton, I'd love to ask you, what are some common myths and misconceptions about pressure injuries?
That pressure ulcers are not serious, that it's just a small red area, it's just a bump in the skin. And the reality is that the skin is the largest organ, and it's the most important for helping you fight infection. So if it isn't addressed quickly enough, infection can set in. That infection can spread to your bones, throughout the body, and death can occur in individuals with unresolved infected pressure ulcers. So thinking that a pressure injury is simply just a small red spot and will go away by itself is a myth I'd like to address.
I appreciate you calling attention to the severity of that, Dr. Houghton. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Houghton. And for more information on skin health, visit courtree.com.
Ron Giannet sustained a spinal cord injury in 1984 as a result of a motor vehicle accident. One of the first things he remembers being told in rehab was to make sure someone checked his skin for any signs of redness. He joins us virtually to tell his story. Welcome to Underestimated.
Thank you.
Can you start off with sharing why protecting your skin is so important?
Let's see, well, protecting your skin is quite important, because if you let it go for too long, it breaks down, and that actually makes your whole body break down a little bit. Like you said, with me especially, I know when it breaks down a little bit, I start to sweat, I start to get headaches. So everyone should look and make sure that their body, no matter where it is, there's someone there that can look at it and make sure that there's no red marks, especially the red marks. They'll come in to be, if you don't watch it, they could come in to be sores, which could end up being an ulcer, and that could put you in the hospital. And no one wants to go to the hospital, especially me, but I know a lot of people that have had it break down, they end up in the hospital or back in rehab. So it is very, very important to keep an eye on it. If you can't do it, someone in the family or one of your personal support workers, if you have them.
So can you walk us through what your commitment to protecting your skin looks like? What's your skin checking routine?
Well, my skin checking routine basically consists of when I go to bed and when I get up in the morning. I get someone to look at my rear end to make sure that there aren't any red marks on there. And in the morning, I get them because I sleep most of the time on just on one side. A lot of people get rolled, and that's one of the, you can actually get a sore from not being rolled over from one side to another because a lot of pressure is going on that side through the night. But I've been pretty lucky, so I always get people to check and make sure that there's no red marks. And if there is a red mark there, I always keep an eye on it, or someone always keeps an eye on it to make sure that it does go away.
What about pressure relief? Is that part of your routine as well?
Pressure relief's a big thing because if someone sits in their wheelchair, basically from the time they get up in the morning, it could be 8 o'clock, it could be 7 o'clock, and depending on when they go back to bed, it could be 8 o'clock, it could be 10 o'clock, depending on when someone's there to help them back into bed. So it's good to get a good cushion. You can always get a hold of someone at one of the, like someone like Motion or HME or whatever, to come in and check you and to see what kind of a cushion might do you best, if you can move or whatever. I'm lucky I'm able to lift myself up a little bit, and I'm always continuously moving. So my body's always moving from one side to another, or I lift up and take a little pressure off. And if you're able to do that, it helps out a lot.
When have you had trouble in the past? What changes in your routine led to pressure injury?
I don't think it's really a change of routine. I just think it's it comes. I mean, we all can't be perfect. So maybe someone missed a red mark on my rump or on my side, and no one else is deceptive. It happens. It's happened to me that I've had these marks, and a lot of times it broke down, but not really badly. But the routine, I don't think a routine is going to help you out. It's like I do that routine, but you have to make sure that it's continuous. So I don't know, it's hard to explain for me.
Yeah.
Something like that. Because I've been doing basically the same thing since the time I was in the hospital and the time I've got out, which is almost 38 years. And I've been doing basically the same thing, and it seems to have worked for me.
What I was thinking with the question is, one of the things that I've heard described is that people are more at risk, for example, if they get a new job, or they change their equipment, or they take a road trip or something like that. So I was wondering if you've seen any correspondence between changing circumstances like that in your life and the times when you did have trouble with your skin.
When you mention the trips, I've been on many trips. All the planes are the worst ones, but I've been on lots of them, and I basically never had a problem going away because I'm really adamant about being checked because I am in a different environment. And I've noticed when you did mention that, I do notice a No, I haven't. I've had a problem with going to work. I don't work, so I don't have to worry about that. But maybe going on a trip or whatever. I've never noticed any difference. It's just a matter of checking. I think you have to be diligent.
As you've gotten older, what's changed in your commitment to prevention?
Again, I might, other than like being diligent like I am, I'm actually a little bit more cautious. I'm always saying to someone, "Can you check that? Is there anything there?" Where I wouldn't do before, I just say, "We don't do you check and make sure there's nothing there." But I'm always trying to get them to check and check and check, and my wife does it. You know, she always looking to make sure because we like to do things and go out and whatever, and I just don't want to end up in the bed. So over the years, I don't think a lot has changed in the way I look at, sores or ulcers or a mark.
And in your view, with what you've learned over the years, what's the connection between pressure injury, physical, and mental health?
And I think the main thing about what you're talking about, if you get a sore,
Yeah.
or well, I think that even with me, I've noticed that I've been in bed a few times, and I think mentally it's very depressing because you don't know if it's going to get better, don't know if it's going to get worse, you don't know when you're going to get up. You can get up maybe for an hour, sometimes a half hour, sometimes 2 hours. You're getting up. Next thing you know, you're back in bed. And it can be very depressing. Who wants to sit in there, lay in their bed all day long? I don't. So mentally, a sore or a ulcer will, finally, you will finally understand that it is a mentally challenging thing.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, Ron.
Skin integrity is an important aspect of spinal cord injury and an excellent example of how equipment can improve your life. There's a lot of resources out there. How do you find what's right for you?
Ontario Home Health is a mobility and oxygen providing company which provide vast amounts of services, beds, lifting devices, wheelchairs, seating, all types of equipment. There is lots of options for clients. Really, it comes down to knowledge of the vendor and the occupational therapist to put their heads together to come up with the right equipment for their needs. The most common piece of equipment is typically going to be for a wheelchair, which is going to be a Roho cushion. It's a cushion that is a static air system based on flotation and immersion to prevent pressure and help with pressure.
Okay, Kevin, show me some pressure relief stuff.
All right, so I'm going to show you 3 basically pressure relieving wheelchair cushions to start. A maintenance system and a couple no maintenance systems. So the Roho cushion is ultimately the most popular cushion for clients with spinal cord injury or pressure sores. The surface, the concept is flotation and immersion. You have to set the air inflation to prevent the client from bottoming out, but still achieving that flotation to prevent pressure. The Roho cushion has been around longer than I have and is probably still the go-to cushion on the market. Next, moving on, would be another air system, which again, sometimes a Roho cushion affects somebody's transfer using a slide board. You can go to a static air system, which is a cushion full of air cubes that as well provides you some pressure relief, but not the same immersion. as long as you can weight shift on this cushion, it is still a good product. And then again, some people still have problems transferring on this, so we end up going to a foam gel-based cushion, and there is lots of gel-based cushions on the market. I'm just going to show you a GeoHybrid. It is a cushion that has an open cubed concept, and again, when you sit and move, the cushion shifts with you to prevent pressure. Again, a more solid system, easier to do a slide board transfer onto. And that's really your basic air cushions, gel cushions that we provide. There's lots of other product, but for the most part, if there is skin integrity issues, you're going to be looking at an air or gel system.
So Kevin, other than cushions, what else is important to relieve pressure?
So other products, again, we spend most of our time, unfortunately, sleeping, lying in a bed. As we age, our skin gets thinner, and we start to require some more high-end pressure relieving surfaces. So it can be anything from a low air loss mattress that floats you inside of the surface, gives you options of a static system, pulsation, alternating. You can also have a mattress that actually laterally turns you back and forth to give more pressure relief. There's so many air mattresses out in the market right now, and like I said, there's bolstered sides so that you can stay independent and transfer. There's full air surfaces like the one we're looking at now.
What are we looking at now? There's a full-on air mattress and an overlay here.
And this is an overlay, a Rojo overlay, which if you have an existing hospital bed with the mattress, you have an option of using 4 sections, doing an overlay over the entire surface, or you can replace your mattress with a mattress that gives you options of putting a static air system into it. So you can place the air system in the coccyx area, the foot area, the shoulder area, wherever you're having your problems, okay? There's also gel overlays. We don't use them a whole lot anymore. Just gel seems to create heat and moisture, which causes other issues other than just pressure relief.
So there are a lot of options and different price ranges, and if you don't want to replace your entire system, you could just get an overlay, so like this one.
Absolutely. It is just figuring out what is going to work for the clients again, right? And what they need for their lifestyle and independence and comfort. It just takes a lot of work to figure out what is going to be the best product out there for every individual client we deal with. And like I said, everybody is a little bit different. And yeah, we trial equipment and try and meet their needs to the best of our ability and work with all the manufacturers. When aging with a spinal cord injury, obviously life is not getting easier, and accepting that there is more help required, and they are losing some independence. So acceptance of just finding ways to continue to enjoy life and be able to do everything they want to do. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy making people's quality of life better, independence, seeing people smile. It just makes me a happy person to help people.
A regional services coordinator is someone who assists those with a spinal cord injury or other physical disabilities to go through transition from acute care to rehabilitation and into the community. Our role is majority in the community. That's our biggest role, helping people once they're home. But I want you to know that it's not just new injuries. Those referrals that come into us come from healthcare professionals, from hospitals, from rehab centers, and come from individuals themselves. So we assist people throughout their whole lifetime and journey at whatever time they're needing support or assistance. Everyone is an individual. No two people are the same. So we work with the individual in helping to establish their goals and work with them to accomplish those goals and work towards accomplishing those goals. So It's very client-centered, and we're working on the direction from the client. And that could be anything from related to education on spinal cord injury, coping after spinal cord injury, equipment, employment, housing, finances, looking for funding, their overall health and being, with skin health, with understanding all of the things that impact them. I've worked with Spinal Cord Injury Ontario for 38 years. I established the Barrie office where I still work out of, covering Simcoe County, Grey County, Muskoka, and Haliburton at this time in 1984. And at that time, there weren't services here in our area for spinal cord. So it's been educating the service providers in our area. It's been, I guess my passion comes from the people that I've met over the years. They allowing me to be part of their life, allowing me to assist them through their journey. And I guess that's really it, seeing them accomplish and working with their abilities, not the disability, but seeing where they're getting to. And I still have that passion. As a regional service coordinator as well, we work on those persons' goals, but also in conjunction with other agencies and vendors and service providers. It's not a silo method of working. We work with vendors such as Kevin from Ontario Home Health in trying to find the right piece of equipment, trying to advocate and try and find funding to source out and to be able to purchase that equipment from the vendor that the individual needs. It's all in improving that person's health. If we don't help get the right equipment, then it really impacts negatively the individual's health.
As we age post-injury, our needs change and our bodies change. It's important to stay informed and understand what's available for you in terms of services and resources.
Thanks for watching this episode of Underestimated. Thank you to our guests for sharing their experience and expertise. Pressure injuries are usually preventable, and we hope you learned something watching today's show. To learn more about the services and resources Cortree and Spinal Cord Injury Ontario offer, visit our websites. I'm Tory Bowman on behalf of Oda and all our guests. Thank you, and see you next time.